I don't know why it's being weird. Give me 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds.
More camaraderie with your.
All right, chat. Let's get this thing going, shall we? Here we go. Welcome back, people. Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good day. This is GVS. Start of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Well, this is what we get for overlooking Ole Miss. Let's just start by saying that, because oh my gosh, the second we overlook them, what's up, chat? How we doing, chat? How we doing? The second we overlook them, dude, look at what they did today against Georgia. Which, you know, it's one of those, not unwritten, but definitely a big stereotype with football and stuff. And I don't remember when I heard it the first time, but it was something about, I probably heard it back in 2021 or 2018, 2019 or something, where you don't want to face a divisional opponent in the postseason. And the reason why is you've already played them twice. And so they know how to beat you. And so, okay, yeah, it's great. The Packers beat the Bears twice in the regular season. But, you know, if it comes to it and we get around to it where, okay, we meet again for the third time, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, the divisional round, the wild card, Bears are going to win that game. Because it's just like, first you don't succeed, try again. You know, third time's the charm. I think, you know, that's the old saying. But I think in this instance, like, it proves its point, because look at this. Ole Miss, you know what? Now I kind of, maybe, well, I'm trying to remember what game. Hold on, let's look it up real quick. Come on, people, let's go look it up. I wonder what other game in that week was so big where, I mean, I remember watching the game a little bit, but I don't remember. Okay, this is week 7. Week 7. Scores. Let's go look here. What other big games? Because, stupidly, I don't remember. Well, there's another reason why we could That's why. The Indiana and the Oregon game was a much bigger game. Yes, because the Indiana-Oregon game was a lot bigger. And then, what else was going on at the time? Nope. Hold on. It wasn't this week, because this is the week that Georgia beat Auburn. So then what is it, the next week? Week 8? Maybe both teams had a bye and then we come back. Yes, we circle back. Well, that's why. Hello. Duh. I was watching my Sun Devils. I'm over here wondering, like, hey, why the hell don't I remember how the other game went? Well, it's because I was watching Sam Levitt and the boys when Sam Levitt was healthy. All right, people. But, okay, what other big games? Oh, yeah, Notre Dame USC. I remember watching yes, and then Oklahoma, South Carolina, and then the night game, yes, BYU versus Utah. Okay, it's all making a little bit more sense. It's all making a little bit more sense. Okay, that because my brain, because again, those who watch the SEC and absolutely love the SEC and like, oh, SEC supremacy, baby, like. This is where it all starts, baby. This is the true form of college football. There's nothing better than SEC ball. I know they for a fact watched it, but I don't like I don't talk like that. Like I still think there are a lot of other good teams and a lot of good football that can be found in other divisions. And I'm gonna hammer this home that the most underrated conference in college football was the Pac-12 because just the sheer fact alone of like how many top 10 teams, how many teams in the actual who had a shot in all reality to get to the Final Four and go play in the semifinals, how many Heisman contenders, and just the level of just talent with how good the teams were in the final year in 2023 before the Pac-12 dissolved. It's like how many teams were there? There were so many. USC had a chance. Oregon had a chance. Washington had a chance. Those are the top three to name a few. Utah was dealing with some lingering injuries, but if they were healthy, they could have made a run at it. Like, I think if there was the term, hey, ball don't lie, that was the ultimate ball don't lie. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, let's actually, hold on. Let's ball don't lie. Let's fact check myself here. I think Washington had a good year. Well, not Washington. No. It was one of the states. It was either Washington or Oregon State had a good year that year because they gave. Hold on, here we go. Arizona, my bad. Yeah, this was long before I was rooting on this Arizona State team. So it was pretty cool to see Arizona State go from this to runners up in the Peach Bowl. Like, yes, Arizona. Because at one point, Arizona did have a shot. They had to win out, but they lost. Which game did they lose? Yeah, they lost to the BYU and the yeah. Yep. Okay. But yeah, arguably the final 2-3 years of Pac-12 football. It was decent. It was decent football, even though people clown on it and people say it was bad. But hey, ball don't lie. Ball don't lie, and it was good football. It's a shame. If I'm gonna be honest, it's a shame that the conference. Parts of me, there's a little bit of a traditionalist look in it where I wish, this is a weird tangent, I haven't even started talking about my thoughts on these games that we've seen this past weekend, but there's that weird traditionalist part of me where it's like, you know what, parts of me feel like region does matter when it comes to conference alignment, because that's originally how it started, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, back during, post World War II, teams over on the East were not like, hey, we gotta schedule this conference game, baby, with a West Coast team. That's not how it worked. Like, you stayed in your area. Now, again, this was also, long before like Charter One flights and all this of like the luxury of what college football is now. I mean, back in the day, they took trains. You know what I mean? And like they traveled far and wide. Like, that's back when you'd get on the bus and stuff and drive across the country. But all this to say, like, there's parts of me that, like, you look at the old Pac-12 and how it was lined up, like, even though they don't play that often, Oregon and Oregon State, still to me, that's a rivalry that should happen every year. Same with Wazoo and then the Cougars. Even though they might not be on the same level. And right now, Washington State is still hovering around a 500 because this season I think they went 6-6. They won their bowl game against Utah State. That's great. And like, yeah, okay, they'll never, it'll take a little bit of a while before they get to up here, where Washington was, or Oregon, or maybe USC. But it's like it's gone now because they're not in the same conference anymore. But there's parts of me that feel like if there was realignment, and if there was a do-over to do it again, I wish the states would have stayed just a little closer. You know what I mean? Where, yeah, a West Coast team in Washington, it's like, oh, okay. Because, like, it, to have them just in the middle of the country competing with teams up in the Northeast, it's like they're not Big Ten. Like, love them, but love the Ducks, love the Huskies, but it's like they're not Big Ten. They are, but like it's weird. It's a weird hill to try to die on. But anyways. What's up, everybody? Hope you all are enjoying the stream. Okay. All right, let's get going here. I have not given my reaction yet, so that's my weird tangent about the just, hey, if we want to try to extend the college playoff to 16 teams or whatever like that, it's like, and give automatic bids, like, hey, 4 from this conference, 4 from that, or whatever. If you're going to expand it to 16 while we're at it, hell, why not? Send the teams that came from the SEC, to the SEC, like the Oklahomas and the Texases, send them back. Send them back to the Big 12 so you can have good Big 12 representation, good have big Pac-12 representation as well. And to me, the other big funny joke, too, that I kind of chuckle at is the fact that a conference that was named after the number of teams that it had at one point, the Big Ten, now has 18 representatives. It's kind of like, okay. Or the fact that because the ACC also had 15 plus teams in its conference, the fact that with how many teams that there were in the ACC, that's why it got to the point of, we're going to have Duke and Virginia go play, which I will give credit. Duke and Virginia were in the ACC originally, so this wasn't like we're pulling the rabbit out of the hat and then, hey, look at this, it's going to be Stanford, or it's going to be SMU, or it's going to be Cal. It's going to be one of these teams that came from a different conference because they were, in the 5-way tie for second place to go play. At least it wasn't like that, because if it was like that, that would have been something. But all right. So let's get into some of the games today. Biggest game of the day was the one that just ended with Ole Miss winning. I think, man, this is kind of what we get for overlooking them. I think Ole Miss had something to prove, which I want to. Now I really need to lock in and get that video done, because I had on this channel, I've made a few storyline videos where I've made some videos on, here are some fun storylines, whether it's the Stanley Cup playoff, whether it's college football playoff, NFL, going in, like, just, it's kind of like a ceiling to floor, stereotypes, or just fun storylines to follow. And the fact that I haven't made it, like, I'm kind of punching myself, because one storyline that I wanted to mention was Ole Miss, where I would have had the caption, no coach, no problem. That's what I would have titled it as. And in my reasoning for one of the fun storylines to follow of no coach, no problem, is the fact that, hey, look at Ole Miss. For the last month, we've been talking about all the distractions of Lane Kiffin leaving and the whole drama behind that and how long it took and all this and that. What do they go do? They go blow out Tulane at home, and then they show up here in the Sugar Bowl, and then they win this. And it would have also been from the perspective too of, like, this is as if I posted this before the playoffs start, where no coach, no problem. Watch Ole Miss be the first team that I can recall. Watch them be the first team in college football history win a national championship with a coach that didn't start that year with them. Because hey, maybe years and years ago, that had been something where, the team started 0-2, and then we had to fire the coach, and then, the coach that came on took the boys, and then they ended up winning the national championship or something. But again, like, when you look at records like that, I think we start to get into, like, bizarro land of history, where it's like, okay, we're back in the 40s, we're back in the 30s, no No one's talking about that. Well, they would in this instance, but because I've never seen that. So there's points like that. There's points like I was going to do the storyline of like, hey, what if Miami played Georgia? And so we have the Carson Beck arc of, hey, look at this. You're going to play the team that you transferred away from. And I say this jokingly. It's like, man, Georgia was a Carson Beck away from winning this game. But Gunnar Stockton had a hell of a day too. Like this game, honestly, as it was kind of in the first half, especially in the first quarter, but the just explosion of what Georgia did there in the second quarter with how slow the game started, it got ramped up to an 11, and both quarterbacks played out of their mind. All right, but I don't want to give away all the fun storylines. But those were some of them that I was thinking of. Okay, so first game that started. Okay, the other thing too is I wanted to do a post game reaction to all the games that happened today. Like I was going to do one right after Oregon beat Texas Tech, and then after Indiana beat Alabama. But with just how yesterday went, where literally, if you're watching the stream the other day, freaking, I streamed till like 2 a.m. talking about my thoughts on how the finale for Stranger Things would be, and then I finally watched it, and probably, I don't think I got to bed till like 4 o'clock today or something. So when I got up, it was like, the Rose Bowl starting, but then I did, shout out to reruns. You can watch the game again. So I was way behind, but that doesn't matter because here we are. But with the Oregon and the Texas Tech game, I think one thing, my biggest takeaway probably from this is the fact that Texas Tech had this many points. To me, that's probably the craziest thing, is that 0 points. Oregon put a good old goose egg on it. And what's funny too, and it's kind of like slap my ass, because think about it this way, is right after Oregon beat JMU, because again, we trolled, why the hell is Tulane and JMU in the playoff, which whatever, it is what it is. But it's funny to me that after everybody and their dog had an opinion on, Oregon's defense sucks, which, I mean, when some of the backups started to go in there and it was already garbage time because of how much Oregon was up by, you kind of let off the gas and you let JMU, hang around and have fun and whatnot. But like, game was over regardless of the score. But to me, it was funny on how much people tried to put that as a talking point for Oregon and saying, oh man, their defense sucks. Look at how many points their defense gave it to JMU. And it's like, the defense that played today against Texas Tech were the starters, and also the starters that put up, I think JMU only got a field goal on like all 11 starters, maybe 15 starters, plus like the rotation guys. So it's like, yeah, okay, JMU puts up their points, but they're putting up points against third and fourth string guys when the game's already out of reach. And then, so we're here going, Oregon's defense sucks. Yeah, well, the defense that we said sucks. A team that blew every team out by 17 plus points, 20 plus points. You look at their turnover margin. You look at all these stats and analytics. Texas Tech had nothing today. And that defense that we wrote off and said, they suck, they're 1 win away from getting to the national championship game against a team that they've already played in a close loss to. You don't think Oregon doesn't have an answer or doesn't know how to come back and try to have their own personal plan in a rematch, kind of like how Ole Miss did for Georgia, but in this case, Oregon for Indiana. Like this is the perfect spot that Oregon wants to be in. And what's even funnier too is Oregon. I'm not saying that Oregon overlooked JMU, but Texas Tech had more time to plan for Oregon, and this is still the outcome. I don't know. Disappointed isn't the right word that I'm trying to. It's shocking because I think it's fine. Like, I didn't believe in the hype or the narrative of Oregon's defense sucked. Like, I thought this would have been. I mean, I was calling for it from the start because I thought. I mean, just even looking at the games and previewing the games from yesterday, because I was like, this game will be the best game. Like, when we came into this weekend, I was like, okay, this is going to be the best game, the biggest game of the whole weekend. It actually ended up turning out to be this one. But I said, this will be the biggest game because this one's going to be high scoring. Georgia's going to win this one. And Indiana's going to, whoop up on Bama. I didn't think... I was kind of like, it might be close. I don't know. I'm nervous because what kind of version of Bama are we going to get? We ended up getting the, ass whooping kind. But... I'll give full thoughts and reactions to this game too, because there is context. Because we're on first drive of the second half, and Simpson goes out. So I mean, let's pump the brakes a little bit on the ass whooping, maybe. But so yeah, I had a lot of high praise for this game because I thought, dude, with how many points Oregon can score, with how many points Texas Tech can score, I thought this would have been the kind of shootout. Like, I would have been more expecting 24-14 for this game. Kind of like, okay, last game was a high-scoring affair. They figure each other out. Maybe a little bit more grit and grind, low-scoring SEC game. And then this is the one where it's like, oh, this is a classic Big 12, Pac-12 kind of matchup. Defenses do not exist. High 30s. No, 23-0. And then the other thing that people will most likely... I don't think Texas Tech fans will forget it, but, I mean, just, because, like, we forget all the little details of each game. Oregon took the ball away a lot, and Behren Morton did not have a good game. He did not have his best game today, and I think they had 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers total. Yep. And the other thing that I will give Texas Tech credit to, which actually, funny enough, now that I'm looking at the box score, this is exactly what the Texas Tech BYU game was back in October. It was October or early October. Sorry, let me drink some water. Where first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Okay, we're entering the fourth quarter. It is 13-0. This is still a close game. That's exactly how it was. Wow, that's funny. That is actually funny that Oregon and Texas Tech kind of had the same flow of how Texas Tech was when BYU played each other for some, because it was a close game all day, but the Red Raiders were able to shut down the Cougars' offense, and it was still kind of close within reach. But then the fourth quarter happened where there was like a touchdown and a field goal, or 2 touchdowns, something like that. That did put it out of reach, and then BYU had a garbage time touchdown, but same thing. Which, in fact, okay, Texas Tech had 4 turnovers. How many turnovers did BYU have? No. Three turnovers. Yep. Okay. And again, 3-0, 10-0, 13, 16-0, 19-0. Okay, so we're like in the middle of the third going to the fourth quarter. 19-point game. It's still within reach because 2 touchdowns would make it 14. You'd get all the momentum back being down 14-19 or 14-16. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back to this game. The other thing, too, is who else had a pretty good game in this game? The freshman who had, where's his name? Hold on. He's the one that had the 2 picks and the fumble recovery. Finley. Yeah, there he is. Finley Jr. So, where's the interceptions? It won't show me. Oh, there it is. 2 interceptions. And one of them, too, also is because, again, this game was close. I put close with quotations, but it was close, and it was hanging in the balance of Finley's second interception was in the end zone when Texas Tech had marched all the way down the field. And so if Texas Tech would have scored a touchdown there, I think this game turns around, because in the same light of after Jeremiah Smith scored his touchdown against Ohio State, against Miami to make it 14-17, Ohio State only down by 3. In the same breath, I'd kind of compare it to the same as this, where if Texas Tech scored, who knows? Because let's go look at the box score. Play-by-play, maybe. All plays. Intercepted. Oh, no. Right here. Is this the one where no huddle shotgun intercepted by Finley, touchback? Yes. Again, 17-16 with 13 minutes left to go. 13 minutes left to go in the game. I think you could catch a little bit of momentum, get a spark there, if you want to look at it. Because the other thing too, with the whole game as the game was and how it was going at the time, Oregon did have Morton locked down for the majority of the game, and the whole offense too. So maybe not. I don't know. So that's my thoughts and my reactions on the Duck game. And so in the playoff, let's look at the playoff. So I think when we look at let's look at the bracket. Let's look at the playoff picture. Here we go. No, where's the playoff bracket? Oh, come on. Where's the stupid? Hold on. Where's it? I want an updated playoff. Ooh. I want like the updated version. Updated. Where's the updated version? You know what's so funny? It is so weird to look at this playoff bracket because it feels like another. This bracket looks like it came out 10 years ago. Because not a playoff team, not in the playoff. Notice my vocab there? Huh? No. But it was just a weird something. Well, actually, I would take this game with a grain of salt. You know what? Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I would take both of Georgia's. I would take both. Yep. I'm going to take both of Georgia's bowl game losses in the last 2 seasons. I'm going to take them with a grain of rice. And the reason why, last season, Beck gets injured. Obviously, like, we know the story. Yes, Gunnar Stockton, it took, he had a whole month to prepare for Notre Dame. But, I mean, if you take, let's take Drew Rowler, for example, or let's take Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, Sam Levitt. Like, if you take Quinn Ewers and the backups playing for Texas here, Arizona's winning that game. And the Sun Devils are moving on and I'm playing Ohio State. If you take Will Howard out of the mix, and was Julian Say in the backup last year? Yes. No. Or was it Keen Hall? I don't know who the backup was. The point I'm trying to make here is Georgia had their backup quarterback, and there were a lot of things that Notre Dame was able to take advantage of that year. And then we overlook how good Riley Leonard is. We overlook how good that Notre Dame defense was. Because Notre Dame their defense had their own problems too. They had injuries. But, I mean, I don't know. So that's how I would look at that one. But then this game and then this year, the thing that I'd overlook is there are multiple chances for Georgia to win tonight. And so this isn't like a write-off or a weird stat to look at in the future, because I know people will make a stat of it of like, oh, Georgia's 0-2 if they get a first-round bye in the 12-team era. And it's like, you know what? They were both very different games, and because in the same breath, I'd say the same thing for Ohio State and their weird record of being 0-3 when they play on New Year's Eve, because they talked about when they lost to Georgia, when they lost the other day to Miami, and then throwing it all the way back to the Clemson loss when they lost 31-0 in the Fiesta Bowl. So sorry, I keep messing with my hair. It's getting in my eyes. But yeah, you can even with that stat, you could take it with a grain of salt too, because maybe he doesn't hook that kick. You know, that game did come down to a missed kick, not a made kick, a missed kick. So, yeah. Which, if I'm not mistaken either, correct me if I'm wrong, Georgia, with the missed kick, if Ohio State made it, they would have won. Obviously. But what I'm saying is like, oh, you miss it, it's tied, we go in overtime. Yeah, let's look at what the actual score was. Which, how brutal is it to also that they beat Alabama's ass in the SEC championship and then turn around and oh yeah 42-41, baby. Yeah. And then look at this, man. Yeah, the second and the third quarter, like, this game was out of reach at one point with the 2 touchdowns and the field goal that swung the game. Because at one point, I'm starting to remember this. Yeah, Georgia was up 24-21. They blinked, and then it was 38-24, which is exactly what happened in this game. That is exactly what kind of happened in this game. And then we had their comeback, and then the missed field goal. Woo! And this game was no slouch either. This game was a classic, because look at the stats here. 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Come on, man. That was a good one. All right, let's go back. Let's go look at the scores. Oh. All right. Okay, now my reaction to the Alabama versus Indiana game. Again, kind of like how I was talking about. Started a little late to the party, just because I was partying it up the other day for New Year's. I think the first quarter, obviously with it being 0-0, both teams were able to just keep each other in check. And one thing that I remember hearing about coming into this game is everybody was talking about how Indiana would be able to control the line of scrimmage and stop Alabama's run game. And yeah, that they did for the most part. And I think the other thing that I think was the backbreaker too was how the second quarter ended, because for the rest of the remainder of the game after Simpson got injured and then Mack had to come in, I am not surprised at all, or I'm going to put any blame. If there are people out there that are putting blame on the backup quarterback for losing them the game, it's like, again, you look at last season, and last season what happened where Georgia lost to Notre Dame. The same rules apply. I'm not gonna make exceptions here this way. Like, it is the same rules apply. How many times has Mac gotten reps all season? I don't remember. It's, as far as I know, it's been Ty Simpson this whole time. But Indiana was able to get Simpson and get him rattled all game. Gosh, what else? I think Becker's touchdown to make it 10-0 was really impressive. But yeah, then Omar, because I'm trying to think of if there was any other plays, for a lack of a better term, as all things considered, the backbreaker play. You know, it might have been Cooper's touchdown from Mendoza. It might have been that, because that at that point, that's what made it 17-0. Going to halftime. Did Bama miss a field goal? Can't remember if there was anything else. No, they did not. No, they had the fumble. Yes, they had the That's what it was. I see. Because, again, after Simpson went out, we kind of knew writing was on the wall. Okay, Indiana's winning this game. Yes, there was the fumble. That led to the Cooper touchdown, and then it was the end of the half. And then on this, after they punted here, sometime during this drive, because I was a little tardy to the party, and when I started watching this real time, we were somewhere in the third quarter, middle of the third quarter, and so I was like fast forwarding through, and then all of a sudden I noticed, like, hey, Simpson's playing in this series, and now he's not anymore. Now the other backup's in, and then like 2 or 3 plays later, they showed the replay again of like, okay, yeah, it's going to be a ribs thing, because we see the hit again, and called the game. That was game. And then, as you guys can see, because there's the 2 more touchdowns, they're on the ground to make it 31 and then 38, putting this game essentially out of business and out of reach. Big win for Indiana. I'm actually super damn impressed for how well Indiana has played all season. But that, not curse, but that looming, the teams that get a first round bye, they might lose. And like how that was a looming stat. I was like, you know what? If there's any team that's going to lose after having as good of a season that they just had, it'd be Indiana. And like same thing kind of applies with Oregon last year, but it's like you beat Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship. Your quarterback wins the Heisman. All these great things of like how well, look at how well Indiana's been the last 2 seasons. For all of that to just build up to, you're the 1 seed. You're going to do exactly what Oregon did the year before, because here comes big old Bama, who had their 17-point comeback the week prior against the Sooners. So, yeah, that was definitely looming. Okay, I had to double check, peek down, make sure my mic wasn't muted, because sometimes, you guys know, I've had streams where my mic's been muted for half the damn thing. I asked in the chat, can Indiana win it all? A resounding no. Yeah. I think my actual official national championship prediction and the winner take all of it, busted. Brackets broken. Because I had Georgia, Indiana in the final. Nope, that's not happening. Which I think the other crazy thing too is how would I say? How do I? Well, let's go look at last year's college football playoff. College football playoff. Okay. So if I were to compare, here we go. Okay, if I were to compare this year to last year, the game that we saw tonight with Georgia and Ole Miss would probably be the equivalent of this. And the reason I could easily compare it to Notre Dame, Georgia, but like the thing is coming into this game, everybody and their dog was like, Oregon's winning this game. And it wasn't till after this game where we went, holy shit, Oregon actually caught the short end of the stick, because Ohio State's going to run through the rest of this thing because of how this game went. And then because we looked at the rest of the bracket, we're like, okay, yeah, Penn State's not beating Ohio State, Boise State's not beating Ohio State. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Oregon was the only shot and the only team that could beat them. I collectively think maybe everybody thought that. There's probably a lot of people that didn't think that at the time, but with how with my own personal bracket, I had Texas and Oregon right here, and then I had Oregon, and then down here I thought winner of this game is going to go play Oregon. That I think, you go look back, I think that's who I had. Because at the same time too, I was like, I think Boise State kind of got shanked a little bit with how the alignment was, because it's like, we knew Boise State wasn't, like, they weren't going to beat them. And so fast forward and doing the same thing kind of for the playoff bracket this year, and we see how the game went tonight. Where's our bracket here? Trying to look. Dude, this stinks. Come on, why can't we have a... We don't have an updated one. And... I see this, but it's a video. It's not. Nope. Oh, hello. What's going on here, Coach? I think that's all for clicks and giggles, probably. Because isn't Lane Kiffin a married man? Like, I say this jokingly, but also sincerely. Like, isn't he married? Like, just for attention, just for news attention. What am I'm trying to find a damn... The hell is the bracket? No one has an updated version of the bracket. You're kidding me. Whatever. Whatever. But there... Just something like when you look at kind of like the history of the playoff and like teams where it's like, okay, this was an instant classic. This was like the Georgia-Oklahoma game or the Texas-Arizona State game. That's how tonight felt with Ole Miss winning. And the reason why was because of the stakes and how the game ended up turning out. And then also with the fact that of all the podcasts I watched and of all the clips and all the predictions, the only people who were predicting Ole Miss were Ole Miss fans. Because everybody, myself included, I'll take that on the chin, we all thought, well, Ole Miss doesn't have their head coach, how far can they truly get? That's biting us in the ass right now because they're one win away from getting to the national championship game. I think it also shows too how special this team really is. Really. And I mean that honestly, because what's weird, and Saban talked about this a lot, where there comes a point where it doesn't matter the plays, it matters about the players. And there's parts of me that go, because it either Coach Golden had something cooked up real nice. Hey, the Penguins. Yeah, after this Everett fumble, scoop, and score, and score turned 12-21, I was like, oh, okay, this thing's over. And again, how long into the second quarter? We go second quarter to halftime, and then how long does it take before Kewan Lacey has his touchdown? There's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So right after this touchdown by Lacey in the third quarter, that's when it got ramped up to 11. And again, Georgia did not capitalize on some possessions. They let Ole Miss hang around way too long, and then just tick, tick, tick. Trinidad, they just kept chipping away. Lacey as well, they just kept chipping away, and they got back into the game. Because, 24-19, and then 27-24, and then look at that. They flipped the script all the way to the point where it was 34-24, and Georgia's down in the fourth quarter by 10. So, and then the safety. Don't even get me started on how this game ended, because I'm going to find myself getting banned from everywhere. That's the old me. We're going to leave the ranting back, or the ranting and raving back in 25. The other thing too, especially with this game, that I will give credit for is Trinidad's stats in this game. I mean, 362, 2 touchdowns, and then Gunnar Stockton's 1 touchdown through the air, but then 2 on the ground. Again, the commentators were talking about it like literally this at one point. It did turn into a quarterback battle, which was very impressive. So, anything else? I used to do this with the streams after the NBA Finals. I wanted to look where it's like, hey, is there any other team stat that I can look at that's like, bingo, there it is. Points off of turnovers or fast break points. Yeah, I did this a lot with hockey and basketball, trying to find that, like, where's an outlier? Because I don't remember there wasn't like a play like Uyangalele's fumble against Baron Morton, or the pick 6 against Sand, or Cooper's touchdown against Bama. There wasn't a play like that flipped this game with Ole Miss and Georgia upside down. There wasn't. It was just a weird. Both teams just kept fighting and kept punching each other, and there wasn't, even after Ole Miss went up by 10 and made it 34-24, there wasn't that play where it's like, hey, here's the capitalization play, because the next drive, that's when Branch had his touchdown to get this thing back to a 31-34 game. And then, like, Stockton and the Dogs, they had their gutsy 4th down conversion plays to get it all the way down. You know what actually probably saved this? Okay, now that I'm watching the game recap. Yeah, okay, oh my gosh. Duh. totally forgot about that. Well, game did end about an hour ago. A little over an hour ago. Georgia's goal line stop. I mean, not Georgia. Sorry, Ole Miss. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, because there was the miss. That's the other thing too, where it's like, ooh, okay. There were. I was talking a little bit earlier about ball don't lie on some things. There was a play where Georgia had a face mask, not called, and then Georgia gets the holding, so it's like, okay, it equals out, whatever. And then after the face mask that wasn't called to benefit Ole Miss, the next drive stalled anyway for Georgia. But it was kind of one of those things where if you want to go and be like, oh my gosh, refs blew us here, you know. If Georgia would have taken that position and scored, I could see yes. You know, okay, we got screwed here. But now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of equaled out. But then there was also the pass interference too, that got them in field goal range. But then the fact that there was, oh gosh, I don't even know who it was. It was on the last play. Where's play-by-play? It's the pass breakup. Whoever got the pass breakup here. Incomplete. Whoever was covering Delpierre, it was in the back of the end zone. Like he turned around to look at the ball and defend it, and it just smacked him right in the face. Because if he was looking and would have turned around, he would have intercepted it, and that would have sealed the game too, because it hit the Ole Miss defender. I can't remember who was defending him, but Georgia got all the way down there to the goal line, and they could have ran it in. The other thing too, oh my gosh, it's kind of coming back to me now, and I'm getting kind of PTSD from when Texas and Quinn Ewers could have ran the ball or done a quarterback keeper, but then they didn't, and then Jack Sawyer had his fumble. But the play where Stockton handed it off, all game he's been doing a fake handoff, and he's been keeping it for a QB draw. If he kept the ball on, it was on second down. It might have been on second down to set up the third down where there was the pass that hit the defender in the back of the head. But if he kept that, he could have walked into the end zone on the left side. Georgia wins. Damn, it sucks to think about that. Okay. What am I trying to say though? But that I think was the big play for Ole Miss's defense to turn the game, because they didn't end up scoring. But then the was it on third down or fourth down? The huge 40-yard pass, yeah. It was 3rd and 5. Yeah, 3rd and 5 when he hit the corner on the outside, 1-on-1. Which, if he doesn't get that tackle, because the safety went over to the other side, which is why they even went that direction. Yeah, that's a house call. That's a house call walk-off touchdown. Yeah, and there were a couple, and now that I'm looking back at it, yeah, there were a couple weird passes at the very end. And then he kicked the field goal, and there was the weird safety thing, and then it's like, hey, let's kick the ball again. And yeah, weird, but anyways, that's how that ended. All right, guys. How are we thinking? So should we have put Notre Dame in the playoff? Should we have put BYU in the playoff? Would it have made a difference, or would we still be in the Final Four where we're at now? Probably still be the Final Four, because there's something that tells me where if you did change the playoff, here we go. Let's go right here. Replace James Madison with BYU. Replace Tulane with Notre Dame. There's something that tells me Oregon beats BYU, and then Oregon beats Texas Tech, and Oregon's still here. and then Notre Dame versus Ole Miss, with how resilient this Ole Miss team has been, there's parts of me that think, okay, yeah, Jeremiah Love, he probably has a touchdown or two, but it's Chambliss and Ole Miss. They had a good game this game, and their defense was able to shut down Tulane all day. So there's parts of me, oh, you guys can't even see it. You can't even see it. Sorry, I'm looking at the bracket here. Sorry, I was talking about. Okay, you got BYU up here. You have Notre Dame right here. But yeah, Oregon beats BYU, and they still end up where they're at. And then we got Notre Dame. If Notre Dame was here, yeah, I would have picked Notre Dame and then Notre Dame out of Georgia. I still would have been dumb, and I would have picked Georgia to get all the way down here against Miami. I still would have picked that, because you can also look at it from, we get Notre Dame and Georgia right here. We have Georgia's revenge game to get it to here to be Georgia, Miami. And then we have Carson Beck revenge game to get Beck right here in Miami up here. We'll see, man, because now with how the playoffs is and where we're sitting, I don't know. You know what's stupid? I'm going to sound so stupid saying this. Oh, this is so bad. Whoa, wait a minute. 1, 2. Oregon's never won a national championship. When's Indiana? When did... It's gonna pop up basketball. Indiana Hoosiers, Indiana football championships. Back in the... Have they ever won a national championship? Soccer and basketball. So they've never won a national championship in football. When was Miami? 2001. Yep. Okay. Because the 2001, that was the Ed Reed days, right? Oh, see, look, it's already sitting there waiting for me. Yep. Frank Gore, Ed Reed, Andre Johnson, Vince Wilfork. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. It's all about the U, baby. Yeah. It's all about the U, baby. Does Beck wear number 11? Hold on. Oh, it's over, baby. Oh, it's over. That's a cool wallpaper. All right. And then the last, Ole Miss. Has Ole Miss. I'll have one in baseball. Ole Miss National Championship football. Y'all see this? Not since the 60s. We're talking post World War II types. Well, okay, so hey, whoever wins it, it's a first time in a while. It's a first time in a while kind of championship, because even with Miami, and Miami being the most recent one, that was 25 years ago. So yeah, that's pretty. Because when we go back to the bracket and we look here, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma won one like 20 years ago or something. Ohio State won. Georgia's won. I don't think Texas A&M has ever won one. But like, of all the teams that have won it in more recent years, like, they've all been eliminated. Because, like, yeah, Florida State's not in the... Florida State, Michigan, Clemson. Dude, I wanted Clemson to be so good this year. Auburn. Oh, who were some other teams? I don't know why I can't think of any teams, guys. How are we looking on music? Is my music out? Oh, I haven't even played it. Whoops. Let me play some music, people. Sorry. It's like silence. We need silence. Alright. Well, that's it. The Final Four is set. Here, let me show you all my playoff bracket, so y'all can believe me with the where's my here, let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up real quick. Pull it up real quick. Dude, is it really 11:30? Holy shit, it's 11:30. Hey, shout out to you guys for being here this late. I didn't realize it was 11:30. Then again, I am talking a lot. Okay, let's see. Voila. Here we go. And yes, this is the right one, because I've made my own one and it's right underneath it. Okay, here we go. So, when it comes to my official bracket, we are officially busted. So, which now what we gotta do? Actually, here we go. Now we gotta change some things up here. Look, there you go. Now we get to do this. Let's do. What colors do we want? Sure. Let's go right here. Now we get to put Ole Miss. Watch the master at work here. You know what? I'm feeling pretty grinchy. It's because I'm green. Oh, no, not you. No, not you, Seamus. Ah, poo. I'm feeling pretty green, baby. Right now, where we sit on the 1st of the month. Give me the Ducks and give me the Canes. Yep. I don't like it. And because I don't like it, it's probably going to happen. But I don't know. There's parts of me, when I look at Bama, Indiana today, there's parts of me, I kind of feel the same about, y'all remember when the T-Wolves beat the Warriors last year in the postseason? But then they had, the juggernaut Thunder waiting for them on the other side. There's parts of me that think that they gave a hell of a game. They gave a hell of a game to Alabama there in the first half. But there's parts of me that think, and again, like injuries are a part of the game. Like there could be injuries, in this next game. Like, again, not wishing for injuries either. Knock on wood. But, I think with the T-Wolves, with T-Wolves beating the Warriors as quickly as they did, and the Warriors were not at full strength and they were injured, I don't think it helped their preparedness to play the Thunder, because the Thunder just rolled them. And at one point, I think they were up 3-0 and damn near swept them. And in that same breath, and trying to kind of compare, even though you can't compare football to basketball, you really can't. Because there's still, you could have the number one player in the world, there's still 10 other guys on the field. But there's parts of me where it's like, you gave Bama a good first half. You gave them a good second half because you ran up the score. But did your defense get better by going up against a backup quarterback? You see what I mean? Versus Oregon, who played a full game, you know, all 4 quarters against a healthy Texas Tech team, and their defense worked that Red Raider offense. And so that if I want to look at it from that point of view, and I'm doing mental gymnastics to get there, that would be the approach of, that's how Oregon beats Indiana, because Indiana didn't get their best shot from Bama, and Oregon and Indiana have already played each other. So if there were errors that were made in the first time that they played each other, they'd get their get back. Just like how just like how Ohio State got their get back against Oregon when they got to meet them again. And in this own playoff right here, when Ole Miss played Georgia and they got their get back, my brain's like, And Bama too. Look, Bama. Come on. Bama got their get back. Ole Miss got their get back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, it's happening. Oh, it's happening, baby. Now that I say it out loud, it's not happening. But, all right, guys, we're going to end the stream there. People on the shorts end, we're going to do a quick out. I thank you guys for being here and hanging out. Be sure to hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys in another stream. Peace out. Oh, we're going to do a gaming stream tonight, so hit the refresh button and meet back here in like 5 minutes. We're going to be streaming, but hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll see you guys on the other side here. Sub. Okay, we'll end that. Sweet. Stream finished. Alright. It's like, be sure to subscribe. Alright. Okay, we'll end the stream here, guys. Full transparency too. I wanted, just with how today, I do need to give my Stranger Things finale reaction. I have a lot of fun thoughts about about what happened. Like there's some things that I didn't even think about the first time, but then watching some YouTubers, and when they brought it up, it made me laugh, kind of like this, and go, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that when it happened. One of them is, where the hell were all the Demogorgons? You know, Vecna's over here getting soloed here, and he has to fight everybody. Demogorgons, they're out doing whatever, not guarding the Vecna's lair, which I freaking predicted it. I freaking predicted that it would be a spider hand. I did this and I did this last stream. I did it and I predicted it. Okay, so I feel pretty badass for predicting that. But yeah, we'll end the stream here though, guys, and I will give I'll give a Stranger Things reaction, and we'll do a stream on that too, because I wanna do a stream where you guys come in, we chat, we banter back and forth, and we throw ideas back and forth on what could have been different, because what I'm finding funny, I thought it was good. I liked the finale for what it was worth, but man, there's a lot of people out there that are like, it sucks still, and it's like, all right, well, you can't please everybody. So, but I don't feel that way. But again, my thoughts, I'll give them later. But yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Um, as we talk about the college playoff and everything that transpired here in the quarterfinals, I am very this bottom half here, the upside down over here. It's reached bizarro world, and the reason why it's reached not bizarre, and I don't mean that in a negative way either, but if it's like if we're gonna chalk it, like men's basketball, it's like yeah, Texas A&M's winning this one, Ohio State's, it's like we're gonna have the Bulldogs, we're gonna have Ohio State, and we're gonna have Georgia right here. Like we can chalk it up, best seed wins, and it's like that is not what transpired at all. Like Miami is on a roll, and but I mean this is also coming from the point of view like I am surprised. I'm very impressed. Like I predicted Miami to get here. Like I predicted Miami to get this far to play Georgia, but then I picked Georgia to end up getting to the finals because it's like Miami ran out of steam. But there's parts of me that think though that I kind of feel like both games are up in the air and could go either way. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Indiana versus Miami, or I'm sleeping on them, but it's like I couldn't see an Ole Miss Oregon, but it's like no, maybe we could, because that's the other thing too is like with more teams, you know what, I'm gonna be real. When we expand the playoff, and I think this will be a positive, and people will talk about this. This is why it was really good that the playoff expanded, because if these were the 4 final teams, it's Georgia versus Indiana. We're gonna have Georgia and Indiana in the final. Because I kind of have this weird thought that how Texas Tech played today, it wouldn't have mattered if it was against Oregon. It wouldn't have mattered if it was against Indiana. It would have had the same outcome. There's parts of me that think that if it was the four team, Ole Miss isn't going. Texas A&M's not going. Miami's not going. Like it probably would have been these 4 guys. So anyways, I'll stop yapping, guys. I'll stop yapping. But this is what's cool, and this is what's good for college football with it being expanded. And because when you look at it and you go, hey, look, the 6th seed Ole Miss Rebels just beat the 3 seed Bulldogs, and then the 10 seed Hurricanes beat the 2 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. It gives more reason, and it gives a lot of like, you can't chalk this up. You can't try to just sweep through the bracket and predict it real fast, because when these games are getting played, Ole Miss is showing fight going down and being down 21-12 and fighting in that game and pulling out a huge, awesome, amazing win. See what I mean? So I think with how the bottom of this bracket, if I'm going to predict anything, I think the bottom of this bracket, what it has done is it has made the case and tried to set things up to set the table for if they're ever going to pitch anything like a 16 team. But again, there's parts of me that think, okay, this isn't college basketball, but like the more teams you add, it kind of has that same feeling where it's like maybe the outcome would have been the same. Because I was talking about it a little earlier. Okay, yeah, you had BYU, you had Texas, you had BYU, you had Texas, you had Vandy, you had Notre Dame, whoever you add to take Tulane out, to take JMU out, to take Oklahoma out, or Bama. Bama has the 3 loss, get out. Whatever approach you want to take. There's parts of me that still believe Bama still would have beat Oklahoma when they meet up. Ole Miss still would have beat Notre Dame at home, and then got into this game against Georgia. and we saw what happened. The game was played. After all the outside noise and all of us making predictions, the game was still played. Ole Miss still wins. They move on. They go play Miami. We'll just see, though. We'll see. But I thank you guys for hanging out with me. Be sure to tune back. We're going to do a gaming stream tonight. Let me show you. I wonder if I still have it open. Yeah, there it is. Okay, let me go grab it. Here we go. Here's the spoiler. Here's a fun spoiler, okay? Right after this stream, we're gonna be playing a little bit of this, okay? So be sure to tune back in when we play this. But yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed the stream. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Be sure to hit that sub button, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace out.